Do you have any impressions?
Impressions? I don't think off the top of my head, no. Impressions, I kind of like find them for a moment and then I forget every single impression I do. Like the one that just comes to mind is Aaron Yeager.
Can you give us the Aaron Yeager?
I do it all the time on the pod.
Can I?
Don't let me touch that. Don't let me touch that. Hey, don't. Maybe I could do an Angela. I think I could do an Angela.
Let me. I just want to hear an impression.
An impression for me?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Aaron Yeager one. Let me see. Give me a second. I gotta character. I gotta think about ending the world in genocide.
But you're also trying to steal my credit card information.
Oh, I don't like that bit.
You don't like that bit?
No, that's your bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's a good bit.
Do the Hellcat. There you go.
I can't do it anymore. You told me what to do.
Shh. Come on.
Mikasa, where are you, Loka? Get in my Hellcat and let's go save the world. So good. So good. I know.
That's goated.
Let's see my
Justin Brenner who? That's not Justin
Should
Brenner.
We do
somebody
should
else.
we do an impression together? Do you want Deku or do you want Bakugo?
I'll do Deku.
Okay, we'll keep it PG-13.
Okay. What's the topic? What are we talking about?
Let's just improv it.
Okay.
Let's go. Until 16 seconds. Let's just go.
Okay. I'm gonna say that we're talking about playing Fortnite later.
Okay.
And you can start whenever.
Deku! How did do it? Because it was so stupid. Hold on,
Deku!
You heard her feelings.
It sounds like a 90s anime.
She was like, Deku!
Deku, you cannot be doing this!
You cannot be doing this right now. And that low key, it's ruined my Bakugo impression because now all I think about is Deku! You're like, that's the worst Bakugo impression I've ever heard.
Shout out to our friend who has the worst Bakugo impression.
I just cackled.
It's just not good.
Deku. I can't do it anymore. I'm thinking of Deku. How about we just talk like let's do the impersonation of doing Bakugo.
You just said their full name. I don't think they're gonna want.
I think they were upset about that. I think they wanted.
No, I think they wanted to at least say shout out Sarah and Lauren.
But I guess
and
that's
Louise.
a good question. I'm gonna ask my friends on the side when they actually start commenting, reposting, and participating in the podcast.
Oh, I don't think they will.
And like it would have been fine enough. Like that I get. Like sure, we didn't say their names. So, like a little brief, like, oh, our friend, shout out these people. I get that. Like I get it. If I was dad, maybe I'd be like, oh, at least like a Michael, right?
Yeah.
But last name, yeah, we won't dox them.
Yo, my friends get mad when I say their social security number on the pod. Like, what the fuck?
I know yours.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Say it at the same time.
Okay. 103246793.
There is a 67 in my phone number.
Mine too.
I know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, my phone number memorized?
No. You have my phone number memorized?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you can get
say it right now.
And then you get it at the end of the pod.
No, say it right now.
Don't hand me.
Kachan, I want you to save my
phone
number.
Your phone number is 647-835-3420.
Kachan, that's wrong. You're stupid as fuck.
Deku gets sucking.
Okay, we gotta delete this whole thing now.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for the episode.
Okay, cool.
Can you do Kermit the Frog?
Kermit the Frog here. Your face is crazy.
Whoa, that was good.
Was it?
That was real good. Do
Was
that
it?
again.
What?
Do that again. Like normal stuff.
Welcome to Coasting the Mediaverse.
Brian, that's good.
Shut up. No, it's not.
That's good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Like, send Louise a voice memo right now. Not right now, because we gotta record.
Yeah.
But that's good.
Thanks.
Actually, genuinely, that's good.
I'll use it sometime
you should
in the future.
open the podcast like that sometime.
I'll do that.
Maybe not the superhero one.
Yeah, but I'll do it
Do
sometime.
we have a superhero character we can do?
No.
Do we bring the pigeon in?
The pigeon?
No,
Oh, yeah.
maybe
But the pigeon is just your voice.
No, it's not. It's a superhero voice, bro.
Oh, he talks like this.
He talks like this. I'm the pigeon. Yeah. No. What rights do you have? Kind of like that.
Yeah. What rights do you have?
That's how I lock
His
in. That's how I
catchphrase.
look into the character. That moment
the
gets
pigeon's
me to him.
catchphrase is, what
kind
rights
of
do
rights
you
do you
have?
have? Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to Coasting the Mediaverse. I'm the pigeon, but I'm not recording this episode, so let me introduce Brian and Michael. Hey everyone, I'm Michael. Bro hates my introductions.
Was
Fuck you.
that the intro?
I
to
was
the
trying.
episode?
I was trying.
I'm so sorry. Do it again. Do it again.
No, I'm
That's
not
why
doing it again.
I was talking while you did the.
No,
pigeon
you
part.
weren't. You were like, dumb bitch. I gotta stop calling you a dumb bitch. Honestly, people are gonna think I actually hate you.
Okay, let's start this podcast. 23 minutes into us just yapping. 2 more hours.
Wait, how about
to go.
you? No, I know you can do this impression. I can't. How about you start the podcast, but do it in a butcher voice?
Oi, Hughie, this is Coasting The Mediaverse podcast. Well, I'm here with Michael and Brian, and today they're going to be talking about the soups. Let's get on with it, boys. I'm going to be sitting in the chair if you need me.
Well, thanks, Butcher, for coming on.
Yeah, Butcher. Honestly, thank you for being here. Really sorry about, what happened in the most recent episode. Not getting into spoilers yet. That's fine.
But, I appreciate you being here, and, what a pleasure.
Yeah. And welcome to the welcome.
And we'll get your opinion on things later. But I guess, hey Brian, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Again, surprise Butcher's here, but
yeah, no, this is really cool for our first guest. But unfortunately, you guys really aren't going to hear much from him. He's very busy doing his own thing, but he'll be here from time to time. Maybe
we'll see.
Yeah. But anyways, how you doing, Michael? We're talking about
pretty great. I mean, we got to
today?
answer that question, as Butcher said, but more in the sense, are superheroes back? Last time we were talking about an episode, we were kind of posing the question, are superheroes really back?
So that was at the start of all of this, what was that, mid-March, like late March, early April, where so many things superhero were coming out right now. We were talking about...
you have The Boys, you have Daredevil, you have Invincible, which some people were fitting Darth Maul into the mix. Debatable in the superhero genre, but... there was a lot of content coming out, and now we have
so much content,
a whole bunch more kind of bleeding from these alone.
Yeah.
And then other projects unrelated, which kind of wild.
Yeah. Well, first off, before we get into them specifically, I want to talk about this experience where, I don't know, I felt like as a nerd, it was so blessed. I was so blessed to have Daredevil, The Boys, and Invincible all coming out in the same day because I was just fiending for this content. So Wednesday nights, I was hanging out doing something. I would watch one of them, and then Thursday morning before work, I would watch the other two. And that was always fun. That was fun for 8 weeks in a row. It was great.
And I'll say for me, it was fun at first. Then I got so overwhelmed because I had to catch up on so much while also living a life. And
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, I thought I did, and then I didn't, and then I did again. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, there was so much coming out, and these certain ones have came to an end, and things will start replacing them, which we'll get into. But what an experience! I think just to answer the question right now, I think superheroes are back.
I think superheroes are back. Some send-offs. The Boys fully wrapped up, so now we're not going to any more Boys for now, because while The Boys has ended, they're going to be doing all those spin-offs, and we'll get into that as well. But yeah. A lot of continuations, a lot of developments, and a lot of different, for different characters, different stories. But yeah, this was just a treat, and I think they're back.
I definitely think they're back. Like you said, we got a lot of new spinoffs coming around these certain shows, some seasons continuing, other movies connecting to these universes, and then other projects I'm just going to give a shout out in the beginning of the episode. The Wolverine game coming out, I'm so hyped for.
I am so excited.
Wolverine game, let's go.
You play the Spider-Man games?
I did.
Yeah, I remember I felt really bad watching the leaks when this first came out, but I will say it made me super excited to watch to play because I don't like viewing the leaks of things because those people worked very hard on it, and it was an Insomniac hack. It was very bad for that company. That being said, we haven't gotten a trailer yet. But
we did
when the leaks came out.
Yes, at that time we didn't get. But this is also my thing with leaks. I know a lot of people don't like leaks, especially in early development, because it kind of gives an opinion of what the game's going to be. Mm-hmm. But I feel like leaks are so important. Not so important. Let me take that back. Leaks are very interesting because they start bringing you into the conversation even when you're not ready. Spider-Man, I remember, it wasn't a leak, but they had that trailer come out where he's busting through one of the store bodega doors or windows, and then he's just kind of flying around, and that's not in the game whatsoever. Yeah. But that was enough to get us hype and having the conversation. Yeah. I think that Wolverine leak was the same thing. It didn't really ruin anything for it. the leaks on the reverse side of when you're seeing things for a movie that's going to come out that's going to spoil something, that's when it starts getting difficult. Which is why I had to catch up on all these shows, because literally as soon as things were airing, they were on the media channels immediately.
This Wednesday night, so we're recording this the Thursday after The Boys wrapped up, so it only wrapped up less than a day or two ago. Wednesday afternoon, I was seeing stuff online. People are relentless now. They're like, oh, if you're not watching in the first 20 hours that it comes out, it's your fault. And it's like, okay, sorry, some of us need some time to do stuff. Like, it's a little crazy. I was one of the things, like, you give it a full week and then you post things online. If it's something kind of like The Boys, I remember with Endgame, people were putting stuff out. Like, remember even Marvel
out the theater, yeah. And
oh
Marvel,
my God.
when Marvel dropped that thing that was like, "Are you kidding me?" The 3000 code.
Yes,
and it was like,
and it was also they were also very much like, "Don't spoil Endgame," like hashtag "Don't spoil
and then
Endgame."
They spoiled Endgame,
and then people do it anyways. Yeah,
which they did themselves. But yeah, I mean, and we're gonna do that same thing. We're just gonna get straight into talking about The Boys, because
it's right on our heads.
If you haven't watched it already and you want to watch this part of the episode before, and just pause it, go finish The Boys. If not, if you're ready to just jump into it with us and you're going to watch it anyways, let's get straight to that. Yeah. It's top of mind.
So I think when we talk about each project that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about The Boys, Invincible, Daredevil Born Again, and The Punisher. I think we ask this individual opinion, like, are the boys back? You know?
Got it.
And then we'll do that with each and every one. Because I think in general, superheroes are back. But
in general, superheroes are back. We're obviously going to talk about it as much as we feel, but I think that's a great way to think about it and kind of pose too. I'm going to say I don't think the boys are back.
I don't think the boys are back.
I don't think the boys are back. And the only reason why the boys are back are because they're doing multiple connective universes again. So they're going to be in our faces and in our media channels, regardless if they were back or not. But I do not think that they're back in the sense of this meaning.
So that's the thing that everyone's talking about right now. Like, The Boys does a lot of crazy things, but the one thing that's unfortunately making the most headlines is that this season felt like it was just setting up future projects, which really sucks for a series that's been coming out for around 7 years now.
This is a seasons of shows that you're in your final season. This is the one where you get to all those conclusions and close out important plot lines and show off characters, and especially for tribute last episodes when you get to see everyone flash forward and what they're doing now, right? This is that season to do it. Especially since they had their created universe already, like we mentioned, with Gen V. It's like, okay, now we got to create this extended universe of TV shows and bring it to the big bad Homelander.
Yeah.
And we get none of that.
No.
And instead, it's a flop of a season, in my opinion, to progressively create new shows that have completely different storylines to what we first got into The Boys for.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about what this season brings. Talk about maybe like, because here's the thing, I don't think The Boys does character arcs really well. I think there's only really like 4 characters out of the whole series that I think have really interesting arcs. Everything else is kind of just there. But let's talk about this season.
Sure.
This season, the first half, or most of it, is them trying to get V1, or find V1, because that is the only thing that can save Homelander from the virus that was created with Gen V. Now, that is most of the series. That's most of the season. Does that even pay off at the end? No. The virus is so useless. And then V1 is also so useless.
The virus is useless. Gen 1 is useless. The characters from Gen V, useless because they don't really end up coming into this conclusion of a final act that we think they're going to. It's just the same character arcs over and over with certain things splashed in that are cool.
Yeah.
But it just kind of felt like I was watching The Boys times 10, but not in the best ways.
Yeah. So, like, I'm trying to think of what, like, every character was doing this season. And unfortunately for characters like Kimiko, Frenchie, Mother's Milk,
Starlight,
and even Starlight, they're not doing anything. they are just following the plot, and they don't really have a thing of their own.
I mean, I would even say like Huey kind of at a certain point just
Huey
stops.
also.
Like they all stop. They become stagnant as characters, and they're still progressing, but none of them are really making any changes. Right? Like
No.
Huey had his glowing up arc, his kind of changing as a character, and then out of nowhere just reverted back. Like everyone this season reverted back to their season 1 versions with the
Yeah.
connections that they have of what they've gone through.
Yeah, and it really sucks because I don't know, but you try to think of like I try to think of what is Frenchie as a character, and I outside of just his relationship with Kimiko, I know they tried something with season 4. Um I don't really find this character interesting. I think maybe the acting is the only thing that I find interesting at that point, and even then I'm not even the biggest fan of the actor. Like it's really just and he's supposed to be the heart of this team. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really feel that with this.
Well, is he the heart? Is Huey the heart? Or are they all the heart? Right? Everyone's tugging to be the heart.
He's supposed to be. I think Huey's like the glue that keeps everybody together, but like Frenchie is supposed to be the jokey one, the one that's romantic. So he's like the heart. He's the heart in that sense. And I don't know. It's just.
I think it's for me. It's like I really liked a lot of these characters season 1, and then they kind of just didn't season here, right?
Well, yeah,
and it's like
then you think about like Mother's Milk or something. I think that's an interesting character, but most of this season he's like, oh, I don't care what happens. I'm gonna live or die. Like I'm here to just do this. And then he has that speech at the second to last episode where it's like, I fight because I care about protecting people, and that's how I got my name, and I love it, and whatever. And it's like, yeah, we've known this about you, Mother's Milk. We know that you care about other people, and that's why, you're the only one with the family that, you're putting them up, putting them away, or you're staying away from them to hopefully do this. Like, we know this about these characters. Like, they're not doing anything that interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like what we were saying, where each character has something that we're like, I like when they did this, but not when they abuse it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like let's get to Kimiko.
Oh.
For the first time starts to speak.
Which I thought, when she spoke, I was like, oh, cool. She's finally speaking. That's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, like I love her performance. I like what she's doing. I do think it's interesting how, for me, the way that she's speaking sounds dubbed. And a lot of people feel that way, and I know you kind of disagree with that. It's probably not dubbed.
I don't think it is dubbed. It sounds dubbed.
It sounds
dubbed.
It
sounds off.
And I like that idea. I like the concept of we have never heard Kimiko talk, so now our brain is tricking us and being like, it sounds dubbed, but it's not, or whatever. I think that's fun. I think that's a good use of some editing techniques if they're doing overlapping on her voice. What I don't like is the dialogue that she's using.
Anytime she speaks, it's just rough.
It's just a sailor's mouth, right? Like, constantly.
Yeah.
And we know the boys is going to be cussing and making all these jokes and being very aggressive with the language. That's fine. That's great. That's part of the boys. But when it's so much, and this season alone was full of it so much, like if we're complaining, or I'm complaining about Kimiko constantly, not having a voice because her voice is just all this garbage. If all the other characters are doing that too, it's like, what are we really talking about then?
Yeah, there's so many lines throughout The Boys, but especially this season, where it's kind of just like, okay, why did we think that was funny? Like, I feel like these writers are asking what their 13-year-old sons think is funny. It just is not it. There's one line that Hughie has. They go to that underground bunker, and Hughie goes, something along the lines of it smells like a Taco Bell had sex with an Abercrombie and then threw up on a gas station in here. And it's like, what are we doing? It's so over the top for nothing. And I know The Boys has been about how can we push the boundaries and how can we do these crazy things. It's just it's not even good. It's not creative.
You can push boundaries to a point, but sometimes it's just too much. You've out-welcomed your boundary.
Yeah,
right? The pushing of it. I like when they're creative, even if it's something that's replication. Like when Ashley's doing the AMC intro. I thought that's
not Ashley. That's Firecracker. But yeah,
I think that's funny.
I think it's good. I love when The Boys does stuff like that.
I love when they're making little jokes at something in their current media.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't like when we're getting a will and testament for a character who has passed away and is, like you said, part of the heart of the gang.
Yeah.
And the whole will's full of just talking about assholes.
It's so like you can have grotesque moments that make you go like, oh, and like the comedic moments. You gotta have heart to make those matter, you know, like, and to have like Frenchie's will being spoken out, and the whole time I'm groaning because of how childish it is. It's just I did not care. I've been watching this show like as it comes out. Every single like I watch it always the day after or the day of it comes out. And this season I just did not care for these characters. I knew Frenchie was dying going into that episode cuz they spell the death flags everywhere, and when it happened I was just not even kind of phased. I did not care for it. And I don't know. I think that really sucks because at one point I did care a lot for these characters, and like the characters that I care for now, I care more now just about the payoff. Because getting into that, like Homelander and Butcher, the only parts of this final episode and this final season that I really enjoyed was their stuff. I really only care about that at this point. And even then, I think Homelander's stuff about being a god, and then he wants to be loved by Soldier Boy, and then he hates Soldier Boy, and then he wants to be a god. I think the writers just wrote circles around these characters all until that last episode, and it makes every previous episode before that useless.
Yeah, and I think I just didn't believe any character was really them anymore in this season because of the circles. Like,
yeah,
we had so much build up for all these characters in different ways, and then we got to 5, and it was just kind of like, let's just kind of figure it out as we go. Like,
yeah,
the things that we've set up in this show or in other shows don't really matter. Like, we know we're gonna get to the White House fight scene. We saw that. We were riding towards that. Everything else is just kind of gonna happen. So a lot of diversion scenes are kind of just made up to give us filler until they get to that.
yeah.
Like, there's so many things in the show that I'm just like, this didn't have to be in here. Like, what is the point of this? What is this plot progressing? Because these characters aren't even important to you. Why are you showing it to us?
Up until this season, my favorite character was Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy was useless and so annoying this season. And Jensen Ackles is trying so hard to make this character good because he's great. That's the other thing. A lot of these actors are acting phenomenally. They are great. Shout out Anthony Starr. Shout out Carl Urban. Like, they are doing the best job they can. The writing is not there.
Well, that's exactly what I was gonna say too. Like, all these actors are why I'm still watching their show, because they care, they're passionate, they're doing great jobs with what they're given. But it's that same thing within superheroes that makes superheroes not back, makes it flop, is when the writers just stop caring, or they're leaning towards other like marketing things for different shows or movies that they're working on, that this is just kind of a giveaway. It's like Iron Fist. I liked Iron Fist. I thought Finn Jones did the best he could, but the writing was tough. And if they would have written a better story for him, I think he would have been really able to show his chops that he was trying to be Danny.
Yeah.
They didn't give him that.
Yeah.
Obviously, people have their hard feelings on that, whatever. But same thing for the boys. We just saw it. Everyone did their best that they could. We're trying, but it's just if the writing's not going to let them do something as an actor, what can you really ask for?
And this goes back to most things, why most TV shows, especially in the superhero genre, start to suck, is because these executives walk into writers' rooms and say, oh, you need to connect this into this because this is what we're setting up next. When it doesn't flow naturally, it's just god-awful. Soldier Boy's whole arc this season was talking about his love of Clara, which, if you remember season 3, his love was the other superhero that he was with in the squad Payback when he was in the 70s. Not Stormfront, who he now is, like, it was the love of his life and whatever. It's just, and it's all because they're setting up Vought Rising, which takes place in the 50s. I don't understand it. I don't understand why Bombsight is mentioned like 30 times before you even see him, and he's only in one episode, and it's to set up the main character of this next series. I do not understand why, because I doubt these writers are sitting down and they're like, oh, this is a perfect way to connect it. I have a feeling like they had inklings of ideas, and you see that in like some of the plots that happen. But then the executive producers come in and they go, oh, you need to set up Vault Rising. You need to start setting up like why these characters matter.
We need him to come in this way and need to be really big, and then don't kill him off because we're probably gonna do a narration thing with him, something.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's have Soldier Boy not be a part of this fight because we don't want anything to happen to him. Make him go somewhere else, which is probably Mexico, to set up.
Yeah.
Not only are they doing Vault Rising, but now they're doing Boys Mexico. So it's like, okay, cool, let's send him there. Let's send the characters from Gen V, which we canceled their show, by the way, because we don't really need that show anymore. We're going to focus on these two. But we're going to send them off to Canada, maybe, and not use them for this whole thing, this whole big endgame version of a show that we're pretending like we're leaning to, because we might use them for a different show.
Yeah. The two things that they dropped the ball on heavy this season was bringing Soldier Boy back for episode 2 all the way to episode 7, and then episode 8 you don't even see or hear him once. And then also the last 2 episodes you get maybe 3 scenes with the Gen V characters.
If that.
It's embarrassing what they did to those characters. Like you see Marie, Jordan, and Emma for maybe 2 scenes each.
Marie's talked about for 2 seasons of her show for being someone who can rival Homelander.
Yeah.
Someone who is full of potential, but her emotions are what are getting the best of her. What does Homelander have but a lot of powers, but his emotions get the best of him? Yeah, they're parallels of each other. She's the good side of that chaos. He's the bad. I would much rather, if you're going to give me 2 seasons of that, lead them to be a part of the final battle, have her involved in some way, than just kind of thrown away.
It was it really sucked. And I don't have the actors' names at the moment, but you know how Jordan's whole thing is that there are 2 actors that play this character?
Yeah.
And you only see the one? That sucks for that other character, that actor. I feel really bad that they're like, oh, we're bringing Jordan back into the bigger version of this show that you're on, but we're only doing 1, so don't worry about it. Because it's also disrespectful to the character itself. Like, I feel like they should have both versions. Yep.
They each could have had an episode.
They each could have had an episode.
They are barely in anything anyways. Could have had an episode.
Or would that have been too complicated for those writers to like be like, oh, well, we don't want to confuse people if another person shows up and they also say they're Jordan. Like, you know, figure it out.
Like, don't worry, we're confused too because we didn't watch Gen V actually.
Yeah, they actually did not care about Gen V
at all.
That was a side
project. Yeah.
It's just it really sucks.
And then, I think you keep saying. Watching The Boys in the beginning, it was so fun to see like something completely different in the superhero genre. It's like Kick-Ass, right? You're seeing these characters that we grew up with in a sense. It's like a jaded version of it. Like, how do these heroes look if they're very much in an entertainment sense, trying to be better than, see us differently, and just like feel that kind of popularity rising that they can get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And they leaned into it for a while, and that was really cool.
I think this was the most talked about season out of The Boys, aside from the first one. So
yeah, first one was huge, and then people who stayed with it. People who fell off. But then this one was like, oh, this is the one.
This is the one. Because the marketing, the marketing makes it seem like that Homelander was going to destroy half the Earth to like, once he got his powers. Speaking of, what is it, the V1? The thing that makes him get more powerful
and super strong.
It does nothing to him. They took him down the same way they took him down in season 3.
There was no point in him getting V1 with them having the ability to nerf his powers and take him off, because we didn't see him do anything.
Oh, right? He was less unhinged on the V1.
If anything, he became less than what he was already going.
I thought he would be walking into rooms and being like, "Oh, you slighted me, laser," because that's what he was doing. Remember last season there was the one leak of like something, and she was like, and the assistant was like, "Okay, if you admit that you did it, then like that's fine. We'll probably just fire you, whatever." And she goes, I did it. And then the second she says that, Homelander lasers her head off. And that was shocking and jarring. But that is where Homelander was going. We've imagined what Homelander would look like if he had no like chains on him and it would be like him like lasering entire crowds of people. Like I was expecting him to be absolutely unhinged this season, and it really sucks that they just did not care. They didn't even try to do that at all.
The most they did it with was people who were directly under him, right? Like him putting this fear into the deep to the point that he was pathetic.
Yeah.
Killing a couple of super villains and almost killing his son, right? Like he had unhinged moments with people in his emotional circle and people he felt like were his playthings at that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, people were. I mean, you're writing a character that sees himself as God and has this delusion, I am God. He should be the one in those rooms that are lasering everyone or killing everyone, not like his lackeys.
Yeah.
Because he should feel like he needs to be involved in everything. But instead, it was just him circling.
The last like 5 episodes, they were setting up that they were going to do this grand reveal where he was in front of the stage and there were going to be dozens of people. I was expecting it was going to be there. Something was going to flop, like something was going to like whatever expose him, or people would not believe him,
and the whole room.
And he would just laser the hell out of a whole audience, which would have been insane. And it's like, because when I think it was at the end of either season 2 or 3 where he lasers one of the like a crowd, like a person throws something at Ryan. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It was like a protest, and he landed in the middle with Ryan, and someone throws something at Ryan. He lasers him off, and then the crowd cheers for him.
Yeah, it's his first moment he killed someone.
Yes, I thought that was, like, we thought that was crazy, and I was like, wow, like 2 or 3 seasons later, when he's fully unhinged, we're going to see that on, like, a huge scale. Nope, they did not care, and that sucks for that, because then when he loses his powers and everything, I do like that's his fate. Like, his last moments, he felt so utterly weak and pathetic. I think the execution is bad.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't even enjoy that fight scene. Like I said,
it wasn't
you're
great.
You're leading up 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And 2 extra seasons.
Yep.
So I'm expecting he is on God mode. He's at the most immortal he's ever been. And Kimiko's still figuring out this power. How to use the radiation burst to take away an ability. She just used it on Sage. She's not ready. She needs time to charge up. So they need to keep fighting him in waves of them, and some of them are going to die in the process till she is ready. If that's what it is, if A is she gets ready, lasers him, a Butcher gets final kill, that's fine.
Yeah.
But what happens in between? So, yeah, it would have been cool to see the Gen V characters fighting in, throw in some splash superheroes and supervillains to help protect him versus fight, whatever. We see this really cool fight scene, then it breaks into different fights, then we can push Starlight and Deep away or whatever.
Yeah.
Then we see, what's his name?
Father.
Father could be fighting, and then they even do that in a fight scene.
I would have loved to have seen what I thought it was building up to, because this season you really see Homelander just disrespecting. I mean, he's always been a disrespectful person, but you see everyone slowly turn away and leave him or start to regret being where they are. And I thought it was going to be really cool that you have a V1 hopped up Homelander who is he's immortal, he's super strong in this, and you'd have literally like all of the boys. So Kimiko, Starlight. I thought it'd be cool if you had the Deep or Noir or Sage and Father, like, and Ashley even with like the mind reading, like turning on him in that moment. Like, I thought it was going to be something where, because it's an allegory for the current real world, and like Father represents like Christian nationalism, and the Deep represents more of like the manosphere and things like that. And it showed that at the end of the day, Homelander, the figure that he represents, only cares about power and doesn't give a shit about those people or those issues. So those people felt used. I thought it would be very interesting if they decided, no, let's not do that. I think it's cool that the Deep ended up staying. Like, I think as a character, it's interesting that like he did whatever it could to just try to cling on to that, even though he was being rejected. Like, I think that's a good parallel to like real world things. But I think that they just dropped the ball with all these characters. Because like Sage and Father, I thought those were really interesting characters. I actually really loved Father this season. Their payoffs sucked. and that stinks that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, this season alone reflects a lot of what we're dealing with now, right? And kind of
Yeah.
like we talked in the last episode with Daredevil, same thing with this season. It's
Yeah.
what we're doing in common time wrapped around superheroes, which tends to be a lot of superhero comic books and I guess now media for movies and shows. What are we dealing with, and how do we kind of reflect these emotions through characters that make us feel comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the creators of The Boys were like, yeah, we made Homelander say some ridiculous things, and then our president said it out loud, and we were like, how did he even know? Because this is not even out yet.
Oh,
so
no
it's
way
like,
our president would make a gold statue of himself. And
then it happens, right? So it's like the bonkers things we're seeing, we're literally seeing in real life. So it's like a reflection of itself. But however, in that same case, like the characters aren't really doing much. Like Sage is not written in the way that she should be at all. What a wonderful character misused. The Deep. I do agree. I think it's great for him to fall into this. I'm gonna stay with this no matter what, because again, there's a lot of people now with this mentality of, even though the person that I am fighting for and is saying they're gonna choose me in a lot of ways aren't, but I said I'm going to, so I'm gonna stay this way. Whether it's pride, fear, or whatever. I just think his last fight scene was kind of lame.
No, his last fight does suck. I do like how he ends up in the water, because that kind of gives, like, it's really the only thing that was interesting about him, or the only thing that he really cared about. Like, literally the only thing he cared about aside from himself. And that is what swallowed him up. I think that's interesting. Why would Starlight fly him to a beach? She didn't know that he had, like, this beef with the water. So, like, Starlight, why would you do that if he can just, like, have things attack you? Like, I don't know. I get why it had to happen, like, narratively, but, like, that fight sequence in general was just not good. Why is Annie so powerful on paper, but then they never let her do anything interesting? She has such cool powers, and she uses them barely. She punches and, like, flies.
I mean, I start to forget what her power is because she's never using them. Like, sometimes the lights get broken.
It reminds me of season 3 when she was in that studio and she charged up and she, like, turned almost like supernova. Like, she was glowing like crazy, and then she gets hit with something and she falls down, and you're like, that's when she learns how to fly.
And she's the same character talking to Marie saying, you don't know how to control your powers because your emotions lead the room, when Marie has shown she's more powerful than Starlight in the sense of doing things.
Yeah.
But it's like, we just have to believe that Starlight's
she's
doing
a bloodbender. Busted. But yeah, no, it's rough. And I really wish that they, I don't know, because I wonder with, like, the budget, because I know this is Amazon, so I feel like Amazon should just be funding so much of this. Like, but I feel like the fight scenes in The Boys are never that interesting because they don't have a lot to work with. Even though they have a lot of potential with, like, the characters and what their abilities allow them to do, but then you never really see it. Like, Annie uses her powers briefly. Sometimes she'll charge up, and then she'll get hit, and then she has to fight with her fists.
I think Butcher uses his powers more than... Anyway, how would you feel about that, Butcher? Would you agree?
Oi, I loved using my powers. I liked when I had laser beams more than when I had tentacles, because what the hell were those? Thank you, Butcher. I agree. I actually think it's really weird that, like, he had these Homelander abilities, and then... Don't laugh at Butcher.
My bad, Butcher. Sorry.
Oi,
I
it's
just forgot
you're
there for a sec.
It's okay, Michael. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, Butcher. I think it's, like... What, like, do you know how, like, it was talked about as, like, a cancer that was growing in him?
Yeah.
And then he was gonna die from it, and then this season it was just his superpower.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird. But either way, I want to give quick shout outs to just the only really things that I really enjoyed about this.
Sure, what
series.
would make the superheroes so back if we had to spotlight things from The Boys?
Yeah. Real quick, everybody always talks about Carl Urban and Anthony Starr and even Jensen Ackles now, so I'm not even going to worry about them.
Can I say one thing on that?
Go right ahead.
I just want to say here, Anthony Starr, where his performance is so well, unrelated to superhero genre, I think he'd be a wonderful Albert Wesker from Resident Evil. That's it. You heard it here. So if it happens, I called it.
Maybe they cast it.
Move on.
Call Zach Krager. So I want to give a shout out to Chase Crawford, the Deep, Jesse T. Usher, who is A-Train, and then David Diggs, who was O Father. They those characters have interesting things to do, but if they were played by other people or if they were played a certain way, they would not be interesting. But luckily, because they had those actors that were really well, they made those characters very interesting. They all had looks to them, or they all had like cadences in their voices where you just really felt them. Like I wasn't the biggest A-Train fan, even when he started to like have the character arc of turning. I thought it was a little cheesy. I really liked this episode, the opening episode of season 5, where you see his full circle moment. He was running from Homelander, and he could have hit a woman and kept running and outran Homelander, but he chose to dodge her. That's a lot of character growth coming from that character. Like that's a huge thing, and I do have to think that's just
it's crazy because I think the first episode did the best in this season. Like it's like that was awesome.
I thought
right?
it was a good
I
setup.
thought it was a great setup.
They're in the camp.
They set them in the camp. They had all these things that are gonna play into the final act.
Yeah.
And I think the worst is the final act when we get there.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like throwaways, and then we didn't talk much into it. So just to wrap up a flop on there is at the end once we get Homelander powerless and he's like begging in a way that just was pathetic, and I know that was the point, but it was just over the top. And
yeah, I wish we had Homelander powerless for a little bit longer, because that is really truly hell for him. I think him not dying, at least just yet, is the way to go. I think him losing his powers and then dying 2 minutes later is too easy for that character. He's done too many terrible things, and I think he needs to kind of sit in that pathetic state longer. But I do agree with your thing, because we've talked about this already, that it goes too over the top when like the things that he's saying to Butcher. Like I like that he's begging and pleading, but then they have to boysify.
It's the boysified, right? That's a great way to say it. Boysified.
The boysify it.
And then you get to the end, and then Butcher again realizes he also doesn't have anything anymore, and his life is pretty much done because he
doesn't have Ryan.
Homelander,
He doesn't have Terror.
Ryan,
He doesn't have the other boys.
Then he goes like, again, I understand why his character wants to kill all the Supes, which was his end goal.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, with the last second act, I would say. But they just didn't lead up to it again. Like they kind of made it seem like he was fine with it, and then out of nowhere was like, nah, never mind. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then him and Hughie have their last moment, but again, didn't really even feel that impactful to me. It just kind of felt like we're gonna do the thing we know that happens in the comic, and it's like I like when you guys were telling your own story. You guys diverted a lot from the comic books. Cool, great. Show us something new. And then it just felt like you guys were like, okay, we have to do the last things because they did it, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, the happy ending of everyone, like MM getting back together with his wife, and then even taking in Ryan, like that's fine, sure. Kimiko's on her own. I'm like, that's a little sad. I think that character deserves more.
Well, she's going on a discovery, and she's trying to figure herself out, and figuring out what makes her her when she doesn't have Frenchie in an independent way. I think that's fine too.
I don't mind Starlight and Hughie's. I think it's crazy that Starlight's like maybe 11 months pregnant because she's huge and she's still fighting. She's still doing superhero work.
Fighting crime.
That's so crazy.
And they're, like doing the dispatch thing now.
You're not even supposed to pick up a pregnant woman, let alone like,
she flies.
She's flying at like supersonic speeds too.
And
that's dangerous.
Do you think it's boyified and very cheesy? At the end, it's at the same spot where Robin died,
where this whole story started.
He says, "Robin, take care of Mom," whatever, and it's like, okay, okay.
And he's in, like you said, he's in that exact spot, and he's looking up at his superhero girlfriend, and it's kind of just like, I'm not surprised that The Boys ended like this, because it really is just The Boys ending, like it makes sense, but it's also just a little corny.
And just to wrap it up, and what makes it even more corny, it didn't end because we're getting
more
Vault Rising, we're getting Boys Mexico, and when those are airing,
do you think we'll see any of these characters again aside from like Jensen Ackles, Soldier Boy?
Yeah, I think.
Like, do you think we'll see Starlight? Do you think we'll see
some of them in? And because if Vault Rising's in the past, Boys Mexico is now continuing right after this. We're going to see some of them in some aspects, just not as much, but we'll see. When those come out, we'll talk about it, and we'll see if they can clean up what they had decided was more important.
Yeah, we'll even I'll queue up an episode of we are going to do Are the Boys Back? Part 2. That's what I'll say. Maybe. Maybe I won't.
But you know what is back?
Invincible.
Invincible.
Yeah, my favorite of the superhero TV shows from Amazon, personally.
Personally, is it?
I mean, yeah, there's 2, right? They also had. I don't think there's any more.
No, I think that's the 2.
But yeah, so out of the 2,
which at one point was again competing against each other.
They were coming out week to week, which I think is very interesting to do. Yeah,
and I just think I had much more fun watching Invincible than I did The Boys.
For sure.
Like again, not only do we have voice actors who are performing the hell out of it, but the storyline is making a lot more sense. Things are just kind of fitting together, and they are setting up other plots, but they're not making it so overwhelming, right? Like when, just to kind of jump into the middle of it, when Rex and is it Monster Girl?
Yes.
Go through the portal and they're pretty much forgotten. What happened to them? We won't know till next season.
We won't know. Maybe even the season after that.
Maybe in the season after, and that's okay. Yeah. But we know it's there.
Yeah. What I think is very interesting is that The Boys and Invincible are very similar on paper. They are adult versions of superhero comics. They are both also parodies of the comics that we have in our world, where they both kind of do the Justice League. They both have their own like Superman, like evil superhero or Superman version. Being a superhero isn't cracked up what it like is like in our version of comics, where there's grotesqueness, there's a lot more ugly violence. Like it's not just punching someone through a wall, it's you punch someone and maybe if they're human your hand goes through them, so it's gross. There's a lot more sex in these, there's a lot more language like in vulgarness, but where The Boys feels childish and it just feels like, oh, what crazy thing can we do next, the Invincible uses it as a way to make this world more interesting, and it has a plot that's actually focused on. Like when Mark gets into a fight, you're worried for him because you know how gross and terrible this violence can be. Whereas in The Boys, they're just like, oh, you want to see someone go inside another person and then expand and explode? Because we'll do that. We'll talk about butt stuff. Who cares? It's like, at least in Invincible, they use that to push the plot and the stakes forward, you know? Because then it feels real in that sense. Because if we had superheroes in our real world, it would be very likely that, yeah, if you're a superhero-like person and you're trying to stop a building, it will be, you know, like Mark tries to stop a building from falling, and when he presses against it, a lot of like things break and fall over and stuff. And I don't know, in superhero genre, it's very easy for like a superhero to just lift up a building, no issues, and everything's all good. But the Invincible universe has this sense of realism that just plays really well, and I really appreciate that. But with that, getting into this season, let's say a little bit about it. Mark is dealing with the conquest issue. He is just struggling to kind of cope with what happened. After the Invincible War, he is seen as a dangerous threat, and people don't really trust him. They give him dirty looks, and he also just feels like he let everybody down. So now he is grappling with that this season. And yeah, what were your thoughts this season?
Well, I think you said it in a great way to make that comparison to The Boys. Like, this is also a mature version of superheroes that we're getting to see, but it feels more realistic, which is insane because it's the animated project. We're getting a lot of these more sense of characters who are delving into not only the idea of I have more power than others, but sometimes I'm not even human, right? And he's dealing with being half human, half alien, and trying to figure out how he holds back this power he has, right? There's so many different scenes set up to kind of give him that reality of, I want to be here and I want to fit on this world, but also I don't anymore. And there's so many things happening to the point where me being here is putting this planet in danger. And so I know a lot of people had some harsher takes on some of the episodes that kind of felt like they were setting up the plot in a filler way. I personally thought it was a great usage of extra time and these side characters to help not only set up the main protagonist that we're following, but also just kind of getting the story a little bit more ingrained into places that we might see in the future, might not. But those questions aren't for us to really focus on. We're just kind of leaning in with it.
Yeah, I feel like when people talk about that Hell episode as the filler episode, and while I get what they mean, I also just don't understand that take. We like, don't you? Aren't you excited for literally any chance to be with these characters? Like, I get they're not dealing with Viltrumites that episode, or they're not dealing with like life-threatening things or whatever, but you're still learning about the characters. I think it's very interesting for Mark's character that Damien Darkblood tried to summon Omni-Man using Omni-Man's blood, and Invincible showed up. Because his whole thing is that he doesn't want to be his dad, and he doesn't, he wants to be his own thing, and yet a spell that's trying to summon Omni-Man summoned Invincible instead. And I think at one point even Damien Darkblood is like, yeah, like you are a part of him. Like he is a part of you. Like you have to accept that, but you can be the good part of that. That's your choice. Cuz so even if it's not dealing with Viltrumites or whatever, it's still an interesting character episode. So I don't see why people call it like a filler episode. I think that's a little too much.
Yeah, and I mean it's also like a reverse of kind of a different version of Omni-Man. You have Oliver, who is quite literally taking the symbol of his father and trying to make it new and trying to make it his.
Yeah.
And his character is going through a very rapid progression of growth since he, as well as aging very quickly. So in the beginning, he wants to be fighting. He wants to be a part of all of this. Then we get to the point where he's like, I'm tired of it. Like, why am I doing this again? Like, why am I here to protect these people?
Yeah.
When I'm not getting to, like, live for me? And he's just kind of having to realize how, even though he is progressing quickly, it's still not the same as just having that experience.
I love Teenage Oliver.
Teenage Oliver's
I think he's great. Like, Kid Oliver was a bit annoying because you were a little scared about, like, all right, he pretended to not have powers to, like, trick Mark or whatever, and then when he uses his powers, he kills the Mauler twins, and, he doesn't care about life, and, like, he's learning those lessons. And then he, like you said, he matures up a little bit, and then now he's like, I just want to play video games and hang out. Like, I've been working all day, let me rest. And then Mark's like, fine, you go do that. But I don't know, like, I like seeing him become more, human and just more like a person. He's granted, he's probably like 2 years old, which is crazy. But teenage Oliver, I just like his vibe. I like how he's just cool. Like, I don't know, he's becoming very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where this character goes, because I imagine next season we won't see him for like a couple months, and he'll be aged up even more, and that will be very interesting to see. Because he's at this point he's going to get to a point where mentally he is like more mature than Mark, and that's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to spoil comics when it comes to Invincible.
I've already read a decent amount, but I think for the sake of everybody else,
I think I've heard a lot of people who are watching the show for the first time versus reading the comics, and then after they watch it, they read the comics.
Yeah.
Or again, spoilers aren't the craziest thing, and something that we're more fine with doing. I do think it is nice to watch Invincible first before you read, because it's something that Robert has always said about his comic books and then adapting in TV is having the opportunity to kind of change things that maybe he didn't have that sense as a writer before. And we've talked about this many times. And so I think this is the best product of Invincible that we're getting. Yeah. And I really like what they have been doing, and even the small differences have been good in the bias of it. And I am really excited to see where Oliver's character comes next, because I really like what they do in the comics. Yeah. But we'll see.
How did you like Thrag, our new big baddie?
I really like Thrag. I really like Thrag, especially because he's kind of a villain who's not overly aggressive and over the top.
He's interesting
constantly.
For a Viltrumite.
He's very monotone. Yeah. And he's very sure of his decisions. Yeah. And the way that he approaches everything just is aura confident. Right? Yeah. Like, he just knows. It's not a question of is he strong or is he not. Like, he knows he is. Yeah. But he also knows his duty as the role, and he takes it overly serious, not to be like comedic, because he means that. Yeah,
I really like how much lore we got this season when it comes to Viltrumites. We like the different flashbacks. First in like episode 2, I think it was Nolan's backstory with like the Scourge virus and him fighting his parents and doing all of that, and that's crazy and awesome. But then when you start to learn about Thrag and you learn about their history, you learn about um, Argyle, the emperor who was killed. Thaddeus, you see his backstory a little bit. I think it's just really cool. I like this concept where these people are ancient, where they are thousands of years old, and yet they look like 35, 40, 45 years old. Like it's just really cool that these people have like lived for so long and have conquered so much before we even got even onto the page with the like this world. Um it's just really cool to see a bit about what's going on, how Thrag got to where he's going and everything. Because Thrag, he's like you said, because he's so strong, he doesn't need to play violent. Thrag doesn't need to be the overt violent person. I actually find it interesting that he sends out people to fight rather than just taking care of it himself. Because most Viltrumites will just do whatever they can to, do their attacks and do it as brutally as possible. They kind of just want to do it themselves. But with him, he watches the fights happen. From in the first one, he watches it from his ship, and then the second one, he's out there in the middle of space watching the fight happen, and he only fights when people attack him. Like, and up until then, Omni Man's been the strongest person we've seen aside from like Conquest or whatever, and he can't even lay a finger on Thrag, and that's scary.
When Mark like rushes in after Oliver gets
Oh,
beat and direct
the punch to the forehead.
Nothing.
Dude, the impact frames, my jaw was on the floor the first time that happened because it like shows like a devil face for like a millisecond, and I remember just being like, did they really just do that? Because people want to clown on Invincible for the animation. Personally, me, I don't care. I think the story is doing a fine job, and I think I like the characters and the world enough where I can kind of get by if they're using like still frames for a regular conversation, because I do think the action scenes are worth it. Even if they're not top notch like solo leveling or JJK level, I don't care. I mean, I'm not really there for that.
And again, as well, like this isn't what we're looking for in the Boys. I mean, in Invincible, in my opinion. Like in the Boys, we aren't even getting the fight scenes that we're looking for. And that's live action, even though they have the opportunity to choreograph, they're not. In this, I'm not looking for over-the-top explosions. I want these characters to really show what they mean within those words, and then those fight scenes alone will be more than enough. Like when he's fighting Conquest, freaking awesome.
Right? Oh, like the animation pops off so hard
when we do see Thrag getting into these emotional bursts, when he's actually losing his composure.
Yeah,
like when they're going through the planet, like you see that, right? Like that is animated. That is done very well. His character reminds me a lot of like Anton from No Country for Old Men in a weird way.
Sure, yeah.
Where it's just like he doesn't need to flip a switch to put fear in you.
No, that's just him.
It's just him.
Yeah.
And the way that he talks to Mark, it's just he's so just about it. Like even the last conversation they have towards the end of the episode when they are talking about pretty much the whole Viltrumites have been
love this concept so much.
And he's like, we're gonna have to rebuild.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be on this planet, and it's up to you to decide, are you gonna stop us and we're gonna fight until Earth's destroyed?
Yeah.
Or do you let us be and we leave you alone and we just move on with our life?
Yeah, because I actually it's mutually assured destruction at this point, where like either you don't want to get too far, like you don't want to push it, or else this is all gonna collapse on you. Because at one point, I actually did really, like, I thought it was a smart move that they destroyed the planet. I like that they treat it with a sense of gravity where, like, Mark is like, should we even be doing this? And, like, even Alan is like, oh my god, like, they just did that? Like, they treat it like, holy cow, they just destroyed a whole planet. Which I think is great. Like, I think it's a smart move. They don't want, like, the Viltrumites to have a place where they can group up and, it kind of shows that their empire is done. Like, it's no longer them. But then that inverse, because were you fooled at all with like the Mark's visions.
So I was actually gonna say that's probably my favorite thing of the season.
Yeah.
The vision, how they did the visions of like we're seeing the internal trauma and the paranoia that Mark's going through. Like at any moment, one of these things could happen. I kind of because I knew what to expect.
Sure, yeah.
I didn't think any of them was actually real, but I will say even the last one, it got me. I was like, oh, he's not here. It's gonna be a little bit later. I was like, oh wait, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the one that's happening. How about you?
For me, I thought the first one was real. Like how the episode opens where they show up and they cause the tsunami and then they just kill people in sight. I was like, holy shit, they just did it. And then he comes back. And then when it was like Debbie getting attacked and then like the people at the school and then Cecil, I didn't think any of that. Like at no point I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. And then with that, I was like, oh, when it gets to the end of the episode, one of them is going to be real. At least if I was a writer, that is what I would do. So when I saw Thrag, I was like, I have a feeling this is the end of the episode. He's here. And then when he was, I was like, yeah. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. I actually loved it as a concept. Like you said, it shows that Mark is dealing with this heavy. Like, it's really terrifying of a concept that he's dealing with. These people who are so incredibly powerful are just bombs throughout the world.
We destroyed their planet. We reduced their numbers.
They have every right to just go through their
revenge
planet
and come for us. Like, why won't they? They're going to at some point. They will. Like, it's a matter of when. And so it's just that ever-longing fear until they have that conversation.
Yeah.
And, I mean...
I just love a plot where I love Thrag being like, listen, either you let us live on this planet, let us coexist with your people, let us repopulate as Viltrumites, or we destroy your world right now. Like
we fight until one of us is left, and you're basically this whole planet's gonna be dead.
The whole planet would be destroyed. And he's like, we'll take everything down, and we will both have nothing, or you let us build.
We share.
And that is the only right answer for Mark is to just say yes. It's crazy. I think it's as a story, it's perfect. I think it's
for sure.
I'm so excited for season 5.
And how Thrag says is like, you will never see me again.
Yeah,
like he means it.
He could be anywhere in the world.
He truly means like I'm done hunting you.
Yeah,
I have to start thinking about my people again. Right, like at a certain point we're in a war.
Yeah,
and now I've decided we're done. But you need to be the one to say you agree.
So I am going to. I want to talk a little bit more about the season. But I do want to give out my theories for what could happen.
Cool.
I don't think this is the last time we're going to see them, obviously.
Okay.
You see Anissa, you see, what's his name? Lucan, and you see Krieg. Krieg on the... Krieg,
bro.
Yo, what is Lucan doing in a suit? Why would you work a 9 to 5 if you're a Viltrumite? Do what Krieg is doing.
Bro wants money. Hey, I respect that.
he's like, I want money. I'm gonna rise to the top. I'm gonna be the best CEO there ever was. I love the idea of Krieg being like cigarettes, women, motorcycles,
iPad.
That's what I'm doing, baby.
Dude.
He's aura farming in that last shot.
It's so funny because that's such a reverse to his character from when we first saw him, right?
Yeah,
like, he's like completely just went into it.
So I'm really interested.
Lock in a character there.
I'm really interested to see where they go. I could see. So I told you that I read the comics after I watched the series, because I started at first reading the comics and then I would watch the show, and I liked what the show was doing more. So I decided that it was better to watch the show first, see how they did it, and then go back and look at like Robert Kirkman's original concept. And then look at some of the panels, because some of the panels are great. So I don't know what happens after this. I've heard some spoilers, but nothing that I think pertains to this. I think we're going to get another conflict with the Viltrumites eventually. But I do wonder if they start having a life on Earth, I wonder if some of them start to turn, because we saw it happen with Nolan. We saw that if you spend time with people on Earth, you grow to care about them. I would love to see that become a theme with the Viltrumites. And maybe not all of them, maybe some of them, maybe it becomes a Viltrumite civil war and then like some of them fight. I would love to see this concept. I imagine Thrag is going to be one that's like staunchly like, no, we're Viltrumites. And then you might see Krieg might be like, no, I'm fighting for this girl that I got. Like, this is my boo thing. I gotta fight her.
Yeah.
I want to ride motorcycles later. I'm not fighting a war. I don't know. I just think that would be really cool. So, I don't know. You've seen it, so don't tell me anything.
I won't say anything on theories, but I have a question to ask you within that theory, just to have a little fun.
Let me hear it.
If Thrag's getting locked down by anyone, what kind of person is it?
If Thrag is getting locked down, if Thrag is getting with someone, I don't know. I think this person, he loves strength. He's like someone that like all Viltrumites like respect strength, and like I think like Omni-Man and like Nolan showed that he liked how strong-headed Debbie was. So maybe it's got to be someone like maybe like North Korean's dictator, the like Kim Jong-un's daughter, or like his how she's like a dictator and she's bad. Maybe he gets with Kim Jong-un. I don't know. Is that too much to say on the pod?
Kind of hilarious. Not where I thought you would be going, but all right.
I think he gets power. Maybe like a CEO. I don't know.
I don't
know his sexuality. I don't know if
doesn't know who it is. I think it's just he's getting locked down by someone that he's calling Kitten the whole time.
Kitten? You think they call him Kitten?
No, I think he's like getting him mad about something, and she's like, "Honey, I need you to settle down." And he's like,
"I'm sorry, Kitten.
Sorry, Kitten." and I think he full locks into suburban life. Like,
you think he fully locks in?
Fully locks in.
Oh shit! Okay.
Like, I think he like again.
All right. Well, you've seen the comics.
This is me theorizing. This is just me forgetting everything.
Okay.
But I think he's full suburban, bro.
Yo, imagine Invincible's flying somewhere, and then they just look and they see him, and he's just mowing the grass.
He sees him in a cul-de-sac. Just like, freaking flipping hot dogs and burgers.
Bro's flipping hot dogs, drinking a Pacifico, just like having a good time. Bro's got a girl on the arm, just
looks up
out.
And goes, "Oh shit."
He goes up. Hey, it's actually really cool here. I'm just gonna live here. Peace out.
Just forget where you saw me.
Yeah, be like, we're totally good.
And then she's like, "Kitten, can you come down, please?" So
funny. But yeah, I really like what they did this season. Tech Jacket was awesome. People were clowning that Tech Jacket didn't really have much to do. I'm sorry. When is a support character supposed to be killing people left and right? I think as a support character in a war, like basically the aid, I think Tech Jacket did a phenomenal job.
She's also learning.
She's also like young, 15.
Yeah, she's a young
and she's
hero.
in a galactic war.
And there's never been in a galactic war.
No, yeah.
She's just learning her suit now.
And she did beat a Viltrumite in space when she, the Invincible War, she killed one of the marks.
She did.
And that's badass. And that's pretty cool. She killed the Viltrumite mark, the guy who was in the thing with the mustache, which is pretty baller. But on top of that, I like Alan's dilemma now that he's like the head of the coalition of planets, and they're like, and he gets that,
he gets a secret message.
He gets a message from Thaddeus where it's like, if I'm dead, you need to kill the rest of them, including...
Like, I still have the disease that will kill all of them. You have to kill everyone, including Mark and Omni-Man. Yeah.
But he said that it would kill people similar. Earth. So it would basically kill out Earth. All of Earth. Yeah. So if Alan learns that they're on Earth, his best bet would to just be unleash it on everybody, extinguish, like taking out all of Earth, just to get the few Viltrumites.
Sure. Which
is going to be crazy, because maybe we get a. Your look tells me that we might be getting a Mark versus Alan fight, which would be crazy. That would be. I'm actually loving that now. I actually love the concept of that. Oh my god, I'm thinking right now, that's wild. If like Alan, because we love Alan. Alan's goofy. He's played by Seth Rogen. Him and his girlfriend smash like every episode that they're in. So
somehow still smash less than all the boys' characters, but
yeah, bro.
But yeah, like what do you think would be a highlight of that if that was the case for them to go? If it was
like, what do you mean a highlight?
Like, what's something you'd want to see?
I mean, we know that Alan is strong. We know that he could take on like 1 to 2 Viltrumites at a time. We know Mark is basically getting there. Like if he's not already there. I want to see them like having a really in-depth, because they're really great friends. Like they are very close, like Alan and Mark. I would love to see them have a conversation where they are talking, they have a thing, and then kind of like what Mark and Cecil did, where they had a conversation and then Cecil says something that crosses the line a little too much, and then they had that fight with like all the bots. I would love to see that where Alan says like, I have to do this to protect the rest of the planets, and Mark is like, I have to do this to protect Earth. And then it's like, great, now these two friends have to fight. And I think that would be really cool. It would be even cooler if like people had to pick sides. Like if Space Racer comes in and he's like, nope, I also hate Viltrumites. I'm gonna take care of her. I like killing other people. Like, I'm very excited to see what that could look like.
Sure.
Or
And
yeah.
would you say that you think him and Mark are more friends over him and Nolan?
I think they're both. I think Nolan cares more about his family than Earth. I think Mark's whole thing is I am the protector of Earth. Like outside of when Omni-Man is on Earth, which he's not at the moment, he went back up. Mark is the definitive strongest person on that planet. So he sees himself as the sole protector.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Nolan and Alan have a great relationship. They might even be closer because they've spent more time together. But I do think the more interesting fight in my mind would be Alan and Mark.
Okay.
Because I think that would be like these people really cared about each other and they were goofy. They would goof off together and whatnot. And this would be a very dark turn. And I could see it being very civil at first, and then it gets a little serious. And then Mark is like, we can work something out. And Alan's like, I don't think we can. And then Mark does a thing where you see him like tighten his fist, and then he's like, well, then I have to save Earth. And then they fight. Like, I think that would just be great.
Let this man write it.
Robert Kirkman, I know you've been on other podcasts. Let me be on our podcast, and then let me in the writer's room. Please. Please. Please.
So any other theories that you have?
I don't want to get into things that I already know. All I know is that time works very interesting in the dimension that Rex and Monster Girl went into. So I know when they come out, some years are going to be past. Rex, Robot might not be a kid anymore. Monster Girl, she's had the belt on. She might not be a kid anymore. So it might be interesting to see what those characters look like. I won't say anything that I know, but I just want to know what they're up to, what they've been through. And I want to know how it changes their dynamic. Because if they've been together for, let's say they're in there for a decade, like if they're in there for 10 years, do they, get married or something? Like, do they are they on the run for 10 years in that weird dimension? Like, I don't know. I'm very interested to see. I'm just very excited for where everything is headed. I think all these characters are awesome. Cecil continues to be one of my favorite characters, and I really don't know if that's just because Walton Goggins is amazing. He just has a great voice for...
I do forget it's him every time. I'm like, this dude's so cool, and his voice sounds awesome, and I'm like, oh wait, that's him. But
he has lines every now and then where he's like, God damn it. And it's just, he just delivers things really well. And he just really, and I really liked that when Mark had a panic attack in front of him, he had his hand on his shoulder and was like, Mark, do you need help? Like, are you okay? As much as he's afraid of Mark and like Mark's potential, he cares for Mark. Yeah. And that's what I like about Cecil. He's a good guy, but he is also in charge of saving the planet. And sometimes
he also puts himself in character.
You could be the good guy or you could be the guy that saves the world, but you can't be both. I think that is awesome. And I know that Cecil in the comics is pretty one-dimensional and not that interesting. I think Cecil in this series of Invincible is amazing. He's like one of my favorite characters.
And he's always up to something. Again, he's doing something for the better purpose of protecting Earth. Yeah. Like when they're making the cyborgs of the dead Mark Viltrumites.
I'm so scared to wonder where those are.
Why are you doing that? And why do you think that's a good idea? But you're going to do it anyways because you need it. Yeah. Just in case,
He trusts Mark as much as he can trust other people. But at the same time, if whatever happens, he has to be ready to take down Mark. And I think that's such an interesting character.
Even in his head, maybe it's like, do I take down Mark, or like what if Mark fails? What if Mark dies?
Yeah.
Do I
What
can't rely
happens
on
next?
what happens next, right?
Yeah.
So he is such an interesting character.
He's a Batman character where he has to have contingency plans on
for
top of
everything.
contingency
Yeah.
plans because
He
you
just goes about
cannot.
it in different ways, right?
Yeah.
And I do think he in that team is a great leader for that, and he's willing to make those choices that they wouldn't.
He's just he's the perfect example of like a utilitarian where the least amount of deaths matter to him.
Right.
If he has to recruit a bad guy to help with these future problems, he'll do that. If he has to plant a chip in Mark's brain, like someone that he trusts, just to make sure in case Mark goes rogue, he will. And I think that's just a super interesting character to have in The Boys. The Boys. Invincible.
Invincible. I do think it was funny how he thought he can hold Conquest.
He's so dumb for that.
And
He's so dumb for that.
And he's like, I know he's thinking Mark's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Mark's going to kill me if he doesn't die right
now. I saw a lot of people online that were like, yo, Mark doesn't come back and immediately beat the hell out of Cecil for that. And I'm like, dude, there's more pressing matters.
Yeah.
Conquest is dead. He's worried about the things that are happening now.
He's literally in a war. Why is he going to stop the war to go fight Cecil?
And Cecil is an ally at the moment. He's like, yeah, granted, he doesn't agree with whatever. Maybe they have that conversation in season 5.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, more pressing matters. But with that, anything else with Invincible?
No, I'm trying not to let anything out, so I'm just.
Yeah, no. I've realized that with this conversation, it's been a lot of me.
This one's a little bit tougher because there are things I want to say, but I'm like, it might get I'm making a suburban joke, and you're like, that might be real, and I'm like, maybe,
I do think that of these 4 shows that we watched, I do think the Invincible world is my current obsession. I really love Invincible a lot. I love Mark as a character. I like what they're doing with Eve right now. We didn't even talk about Eve, but I think that whole dynamic is also really great. I love Cecil as a character, and I think the world building in general is just really good. I think it's just a really cool show. I like what Robert Kirkman is doing. I like that you have the ability to write a comic, and then a decade or 2 later, you have the ability to make it better with a writer's room. I'm sure it's not just Robert Kirkman fixing his own mistakes and doing oh, I wish I did this instead. But I like that he has that ability.
Sure, which is why I think the Hell episode was so good, because that is one that he wrote.
Yeah.
Right? Where a lot of the other episodes is different people.
Yeah.
That's one that he held a lot of his time on.
Yeah.
Which makes you beg the question, if he can just choose to rewrite some of his other comics, or some comic lines, some of the storylines in this, but he focused on this episode, it must have been for a reason.
Yeah, I would like to see, because we see Damien Darkblood comes back, and he's back in the real world, and I would love to see what continues with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in the comics in season 1, he was only there for 5 minutes. At least in this one, throughout the first season, he's this looming, ooh, he knows who is he going to tell, and he tells Debbie, or he cues Debbie to become investigative. But yeah, I do think I've always said that Robert Kirkman has the career that I want. He writes comics, and then 20 years later, he is the showrunner for his own comic, and he can make it the exact way he wants. Sometimes I just see scenes that he does, the Conquest fight. I feel like Robert Kirkman has had that in his head for decades, and finally seeing it on TV, I really hope he feels proud about that. But yeah. With that, anything else, homie?
Just excited for the next season.
Me too. I think they said season 5 is definite. I think, because it's really tough, because Amazon likes to announce things just after they first aired or whatever. So I think they confirmed season 5.
They did.
And then they said it can potentially go to 6, 7, 8, 9, and it would probably end around 8 or 9. So, hey, I'm hoping it continues, because I love this show.
In the meantime, while we wait for the next season, would you be interested in them doing a spin-off side piece, kind of like they did with Adam and Eve? Or would you prefer them just focusing on the next season?
No, I've been saying that they should do more of those. I really wish we got a Rex one. I would love to see a Rex origin story with the same thing. I would love to see maybe Nolan back when he first landed on Earth him trying to figure out his thing. I think there's a lot of things you can do with Thrag, maybe. You can even see more of Thrag's upbringing and everything. I don't know. I just think there are so many interesting characters. They basically did that with Cecil for one episode, like last season, where one episode was his origin, and I loved it. I loved it so much. And people have been talking about like maybe a Rudy, like a robot one, or maybe like I said, a Rex one. And now that Rex is dead, it's like maybe not. I don't know, but I would love it either way.
Maybe they do like one of the most popular things now, an anthology, right? So it's like a whole bunch of different one shots of their world, whether it's a before, after kind of thing. What they're doing.
I'm gonna pitch one right now.
Do it.
I'm gonna call it Donald Saves the World, and it's all of the times Donald died, which they said is like 30 times.
And I think we saw like a glimpse of that.
We saw a little bit. We saw him get squashed. We saw him get blown up.
We see him just die, but like seeing the actions that he does would be really cool.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Donald, he probably feels that because they probably just make him into like a human. So like he's a through and through hero. He doesn't have the powers, but he'll get in there and he'll do what he can to save people. And that's baller. Shout out Bobby Hill.
Bobby.
God damn it, Bobby. That's not my best impression. But with that, let's take a break from Amazon. Let's move over to DC. What?
DC. Batman 2.
Oi, we're not talking about DC. We're talking about Marvel.
My bad,
Thank
Butcher.
you, Butcher. I'm so sorry. That was so
Butcher.
stupid of me.
I like DC.
I
you
do like DC.
So right.
So, yeah, we won't talk about DC today, but we'll talk about Marvel. Specifically, let's get into Daredevil first.
Born Again Season 2.
Born Again Season 2. How'd you like it?
I think
Is Born Again Season 2 back?
It's back.
I think it's back.
I think it's so back. I really liked the original Daredevil series on Netflix, and I stuck with it for the whole run. I pretty much watched Born Again Season 1 into Born Again Season 2 because I took a long time away from watching it when it was coming out. And I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it really kind of led to where they were going. Again, I think that they understood a lot of the setup that they were doing. We do have to keep in mind, like, MCU is existing in these places. And sometimes I hate where the shows are taking too much of that.
Sure.
I personally like it when you focus on the story and you make simple nods or things that might be important later, but you let the characters focus on their own story. And I think Born Again did that very well.
Yeah, I also do like how it does feel like its own thing while also existing in the MCU. My one gripe with that, like literally my own singular gripe, if there were people in cages, I think I might have even said this in the last podcast, if there were people in cages, Spider-Man would also be there.
Where Spider-Man,
they're talking about like attacking
Strange.
Vigilantes and not even one mention of Spider-Man. Like you can't just say Spider-Man.
They mentioned a man in a spider or like the spider suit or whatever.
But like we're in the MCU. Like this, I'm not talking. But this is like they used to do this back before that they were allowed to use Spider-Man. And it was like, oh, a man in a bug suit was swinging on this building. Just say Spider-Man. Be like, by the way, Spider-Man. We haven't seen him in a week or two. Or like he's been off doing this.
Well, they mentioned Miss Marvel from the New Jersey Hero, right? But,
do they?
Yeah. Well, I mean the bank episode. Is that season 1?
Oh, that was season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah.
But even then, like they're mentioning characters. You have Swordmaster, but where's Kate Bishop? Right.
Exactly.
So you have a lot of these characters who should be like Doctor Strange. We know is there. Where's America Chavez? Right. Like we have all these
Where are
characters
all these people?
Should be existent. Where are they? They kind of soft mention it. Jessica Jones is here. We know Luke Cage is
but like they're only bringing
else.
Daredevil characters.
It's just the Defenders, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else, we again don't need the mention. However, since you're connected to the MCU, it does leave you begging why, where, when.
Yeah.
And so they're probably gonna wrap that into the Spider-Man movie, and they'll mention why he wasn't there, which is like, do you feel satisfied with that? Me, I'm okay with it. Like I said, I don't really need... I know they exist and they should be there, but I'm just going to turn that piece of my brain off and enjoy that they're not there for now.
Yeah.
And then if they bring it into their media, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. And like, so getting into the plot of this season, we see that anti-vigilantism and like Fisk is more of a stranglehold than it's ever been. He's just basically throwing anybody who fights against the police and the task force and the mayor's office in these cages. I think it's very clearly an allegory to what's going on in the current world. Um, Obviously dialed up to a more extreme cases, but even in some cases not. Like you and I talked about the bodega scene in the last podcast where it was kind of unsettling because some of the visuals that we were seeing felt like things that we were seeing in real life. And, while we go to a lot of these superhero things are written to kind of be metaphors for the real world, I think sometimes it's also nice to watch my media and to kind of escape the real world. And this was just like, nope, we're gonna do like a 1-to-1 like payoff of that. And I don't know if I necessarily love it because of that. Like I do think it was impactful because it like really, like I said, it really unsettled me. But then I get into what I said, like it's operated by Disney, and Disney's one of the biggest funders of this current administration. So how much of this is just performative, how much is like actually making a stance. And well, I do think it does lean a little bit like, yeah, we're against the things that are going on. I don't know if MCU movies and like I don't even like I think like The Boys also did like this where protests in these worlds just don't feel real. Like the idea that everyone was just standing outside of the thing and like they were all just screaming and shouting and like it just doesn't look like what real protests look like in the real world. And like I'm not talking about like escalation of violences. I'm not talking about like my biggest thing I will say is that like you look at the people that are in the protest against Mayor Fisk at the last episode, and it's a lot of old white people in their like 30s to 60s. Such an interesting demographic to get. First off, I would think that it would be the younger crowd that would probably be dominating these protests. And like most protests that happen now, it's happening to people of color. So those people that are protesting are mostly going to be affected. I am just kind of jarred that like you're panning over the protest and it's like dudes in their 30s. Like white dudes in their 30s. And I don't think that's like the biggest gripe. Just to me, it's a little like, okay, Disney, we're kind of whitewashing here. Like, and I know it's about superheroes, it's about vigilantes, but like, I don't know.
I mean, if you're trying to make a representation and you're trying to point to like real life stuff, then you might as well do it.
Yeah. But with that, like with getting into the real plot, like I think the story with Matt this season was great. I liked him and Karen on the run. I like the whole point of like the North Star bringing in weapons and how that leads into like Karen getting arrested and then like I think Daredevil revealing himself, Matt revealing himself as Daredevil was so shocking, but also really cool. I loved that scene a lot.
Yeah, I thought that scene was awesome. I mean, I kind of felt like it was coming. Only because, like I said, it kind of spoils for me for the Spider-Man to have the hand in and like they're around a prison. So my brain's like, oh, he's probably gonna release.
Oh yeah.
Somehow he's gonna get a prison. And how does that happen without him announcing it? But in the beginning, when like Matt was missing, I was like, oh, maybe they're just gonna do a thing where they find Matt doing something and he like takes off his suit so he won't get caught. And they're like, oh, he's doing weird stuff. Let's send him to jail. So he goes to jail, and you don't know that he's Daredevil. So the court scene after a while was like, oh, they're not going to do it. And then they did. And I was like, oh, this is kind of sick. Because now it's like, do people believe that he is Daredevil? Obviously, he threw the baton and caught him, was like, I have these reflexes.
And all the people who know Matt and know he's blind, like, that was shocking to see.
That was shocking. I mean, everyone sees this blind lawyer. They're like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like, he is Daredevil. This is so right. I wonder if they're going to do a thing where maybe they play with that idea of some people are like, no, he just kind of prepared that or got lucky, but he's actually not Daredevil because something I'd mentioned, I think, in the next season, one of my theories is that someone's going to be picking up the Daredevil mantle again. And I think it's going to be Finn Jones as Iron Fist, but playing as Daredevil instead to kind of play back and forth with this idea of maybe he actually wasn't Daredevil to try to get him his identity back. Because we're not going to get another Doctor Strange thing where he resets time so someone forgets his identity.
No, yeah.
Like, this is now out. So it's like,
Yeah.
do they go the plan A where they just let that happen and they lean into it, or they go plan B where they try to get him his identity back?
Well, not a lot of people in the MCU really have an identity outside of like a hidden identity outside of like Spider-Man. Like he's the only one that I could. I mean,
I
because
feel like Daredevil would be a hidden identity.
Daredevil. No, I see. He did, but I mean, like, but now that it's exposed, but I'm
Yeah.
talking like Iron Man, Captain America, like even Bruce Banner, Thor. I mean, Thor doesn't need one, but like in the comics, he does. Like he's a different. He plays a guy, but then like I don't know. Even when Black Panther was introduced in that same one, he takes off his mask in front of everybody, reveals that he is King T'Challa. Like I think they care less about the hidden identity in the MCU. At least they did.
And I think, yeah, not to interrupt you, but that's kind of what bugs me, because I like the idea of some heroes being like, yeah, I'll be who I am, right?
I think some definitely
like,
should.
I think that's the whole point of Civil War, that kind of just glazed over the idea of having to release who you are if you decide to be a superhero, and if you don't, that makes you a vigilante.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole importance of the Civil War is that holding on to the identity yourself, so you can not only protect yourself, but the freedom to choose. And so I think that this can bring back that conversation in a way for the heroes that choose to not want to, because it is important to them.
Sure. I mean, yeah, because like I'm also thinking like 'cause Sam Wilson, he's Captain America. Everybody knows him. Bucky Barnes, same. Everyone knows him. Yelena's a spy, because I'm trying to think of like Thunderbolts now and like who we got left. I don't think Shang-Chi has a hidden identity. I don't think he even has like a. He's not even like a superhero that has like a name, or like we haven't seen him since 2020. So like who the hell knows?
His hero is his name, but like
exactly,
he hasn't been in there. So it's like I do agree that there's less heroes right now who have an identity.
Yeah.
But like I think if we're getting to a place where they keep floating the idea of wanting to do the Young Avengers. What if the Young Avengers decide, no, all of us want to keep our identity, right?
I think that'd be cool.
And I think it's a fun play that they can introduce back with this.
Yeah. I would like to definitely see it. I'd like to see what they do. But getting back to like the Daredevil of it all, I loved that scene. I loved how Matt was like, you have one card on me to play and it's revealing my identity, but what if I do it instead? Like I like how he was just kind of coaxing him into being like, I saved you that day, so that like makes me a hero, and that like in your eyes. And he's like, yes. And then he kind of like gets closer, and Fisk is like, do you really want to do this? And like I love
the baiting of it all.
Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio have such amazing chemistry together when they're these characters. It's so fun to watch them playing these, because Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, is always seething with rage when he's talking to him, but like it's very like just below the surface. Like he plays calm, but you can tell he would snap Matt in half. And then Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, always has like the little smirk on him. He always has like the little corner of his mouth just smiling whenever he's talking to Wilson. And I love that so much. Like, it's just so good.
You know, Matt got you when he does the smirk and he laughs and he, like, looks around the room like he's looking.
Yeah.
He, like, does the chuckle and he's, like, getting the center of Earth back to him. He's like, you're done.
Yeah.
And when Kingpin called him, you're like, you fool. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my God.
And then that hallway scene with...
Oh, the parallel hallway scene?
The parallel hallway scene where they're fighting towards each other. Baller. But... first off, the doors open and it's Wilson Fisk, and he's like, ha! And then just immediately wails on these people. Like, these protesters
are getting rocked.
Murked. He picked up one guy and there was like a jut in the wall and he like bent him in half, and I was like, holy shit. I forgot that this was rated R. Like, is it rated R?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because then you had when they destroyed the ship, I was like, oh, God. Like,
yeah, no, these shows have been just pushing the limits, and I really appreciate that.
And, like going back to the hallway scene, how, like, they're going back and forth and fighting to meet each other. Then we get to the staircase where he's fighting these protesters off the staircase left and right.
Yeah.
It's like, dude threw one off of that balcony.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, my God. Threw one straight off the balcony.
Straight off. And then at that point now, Matt's having to protect Kingpin, and he's like trying to convince these protesters to stop. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't the way. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, is Matt gonna just punch a protester? Like, this is kind of wild.
Yeah. So, yeah, you go.
I was gonna say, and I will say, this show got me. It pookified a villain, and I now think Bullseye is badass. And
yeah, you got propaganda.
I got propaganda. I got Pookie. Like, he is Pookie, and he's gonna be in the Thunderbolts team. Or
you haven't even said who it was.
I said Bullseye.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I thought people were gonna assume that you were
Bullseye
talking about
has been pookified.
Oh yeah, Bullseye
is worked, and he's
Bullseye
going to
is
be
Pookie certified.
Certified Pookie, certified white boy Pookie.
Mm-hmm. White boy of the year. Can we give it to him? Can we give it to him?
It's too soon to tell.
He can get nominated.
He's in the nominations.
He might get a nomination.
He's in the nominations.
Write it down. Write it down.
Written down.
He get
send the edits. Send the edits with him getting like Pookie boy music and some heart filter all over him. Oh I've seen it already. I'll show you later. And he's there. He's made it.
Anime girl singing and hit sunshine and rainbows as he's
he's like literally as he's killing people.
As
he's killing people, and it's like I'm excited to see where they take his character.
He's definitely going to Thunderbolts.
If not Thunderbolts, he's taking the spot of Luke Cage now, right? Under I forget his name. Played by Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, Charles
something like
they called him Mr. Charles. And if I'm being honest, the whole season I was like, "What is this character?"
He's like
I love Matthew
Lillard.
Yeah. What's he doing?
He's so good, but he's separate from that. But I think maybe it'll be like a shared thing where like he'll join them, but that's his right hand guy now.
Sure.
But I do think it's funny how like they're sitting next to each other and playing, and he has like his big headphones on. He's like, I kind of hate this guy, but he gave me a job.
And in his headphones, it's la di da di da la di da di da.
And he's watching his own edits. Like when he saves.
Bro's playing Oma Musume on the.
Bro's watching anime edits, and he's like, "This is so me for real."
He's like, Mr. Charles, have you ever seen this episode of Naruto? You should check it out.
It's freaking sick, bro. Sasuke, that's my boy.
He would like Sasuke.
Yeah, of course, he'd like Sasuke. But when he does the favor for Matt and he redeems himself and
by saving the governor,
and then he does the like little finger salute. I'm like, oh, this guy thinks he's it.
The actor is just great, and I like how he even said like, I should have died. You threw me off a building. I should have died, but I'm here. So I'm still alive, and
he's even said like, I like playing the character, but I don't want it to be overdone. Right? I don't want to be in everything.
I also don't think this character should be good. I think he should stay like maybe an anti-villain. Like he shouldn't be an anti-hero. Well,
he's like the idea of the Thunderbolts before they became the New Avengers.
Yeah.
Right. The legit anti-heroes. Right. Where you have our anti-villains. Like where Punisher falls more into anti-hero. Bullseye is anti-villain.
Yeah.
And like in the Thunderbolts, he was playing Bullseye becomes Hawkeye for a second. As
he would
that version of it, but he like also does pretty crazy stuff in that comic.
He also he has different powers compared to the other ones, where all of them just punch and kick. At least he's throwing shit around.
Literally, bro's just got skill. Like it's not powers at all.
Yeah, I like that Hawkeye's like bow and arrow, and he's just like, I'll throw a fork at you.
Literally, that scene when he in the diner.
The diner scene is crazy.
The diner scene, which I've also saw Pookie edit to that one. I'm gonna send that to you. And it's crazy. Like he just.
We're gonna post this on our story.
I will post a Pookie edit on the story for sure. You guys are begging. I get it. Me too. Send me some.
Literally banging on the door.
Please, I'm asking for them. When he puts the toothpick in his mouth and just like shoots it out.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What like.
And then sees the dog and just goes like, that's not sanitary.
Yeah.
Says, I'm not going to kill you, don't worry. I'm one of the good guys.
He's a really interesting character, and I liked what they did with him this season. I want to get into a little bit about the maybe things that I didn't love about this season.
Go ahead.
While I really like the actors of Buck, BB, and Daniel, I don't know if their stories work. BB's whole thing with being like the undercover thing, I actually didn't mind that their friendship, and she was kind of like using information from him, and then he like Daniel had to make the choice whether to like, you know, fall darker into this path or not. I just don't know if these characters are working for me. I don't really see them as friends, you know?
No, yeah. They are like friends who used to be friends back in the day and are now just kind of still friends by association.
Yeah, but they were even like flirting with like a romance towards the end of this
Sure.
series, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't. So here's my biggest thing. If your friend is fully involved in the administration that you think is destroying a city, why are you still friends with them? And when he gets a promotion, she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy for you." Why? You should be like, "Hey, get the fuck out of there, or I'm not talking to
She
you."
was trying to use him, right? Like that's
I
what they
know.
were. That's what they were pushing for. But yes, sometimes it did feel like she was just kind of like, "Let's get the party, freak it, right? Like who cares?" But
I
like
don't.
obviously they could have written it a little bit more better, where she was like a little bit more involved. But they wanted the reveal for her to be the person under that like
And that was so
mask doing the thing
obvious.
the whole time.
At least for us, at least. Like
Um,
the audience, I'm like, I don't think anybody was like, "Oh, I wonder who this is." Like, of course it's BB. I don't know. Were you surprised?
for a second, I thought it was maybe what did he say his name is? Chester,
Chester,
not Chester, Charles.
Mr. Charles.
Mr. Charles.
You thought Mr.
Yeah,
Charles?
because I thought he
under
was just
there?
like messing with Kingpin because
That'd be
like
really
when he
funny.
walked in and like he was making the jokes and
Mhm.
I was just like, oh, okay, cool, that's him messing around. Like
Yeah.
maybe he's being goofy and he's like helping him on this side, but he's also like kind of pissing him off on this other side.
Yeah.
But I mean, it made sense for it to be BB, but I was like, this would be kind of funny. It'd be
Yeah.
funny if they're working together on this.
That would be pretty funny. But yeah.
Nah.
Anything else about this season?
Like I said, I think there's gonna be another one.
I'm excited for what's to come.
What's to come is
I
gonna be great. I
really,
think in the sense of superheroes are so back. I think MCU shows in this kind of sense are back, and I'm excited to see where they go with. I mean, you call it the Defenderverse with all the old Netflix products.
Yeah.
Adding Punisher
I
in
liked
there as well.
I liked that Jessica Jones came back, and I hope they continue her being the investigator.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of did like a send off where Cherry is like retiring, but he gave her like a, "Hey, nice to meet you. Heard about your work. Like you're good." I think that was like kind of like a send off for them.
For sure. Sorry to just ruin this podcast and say deja vu, but I just had a wild deja vu, and if I didn't say it, my head was going to explode. But yeah, I think it is a great send off between the two.
I'm going to keep that.
Yeah, I know. But I think leading into another project, let's just get into Punisher.
I was going to say, we didn't see him this season because he was
there
apparently
and
doing
gone,
something else.
What was he doing, right?
Well, that's the thing. So we're talking now about the Punisher One Last Kill, the Marvel television special event. They call it, what do they call it? The special
event one shot. I don't
Yeah.
remember the term for it, but
I love these. I love the Werewolf by Night. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Marvel should put out 1,000 of these. Give a creative who don't give them their whole movie. Don't give them like a full budget for like a 10 episode series, but give someone like $30 million just to tell a really good story. Because they did that with Guardians, which they probably gave James Gunn so much money. But even Werewolf by Night, it was in black and white. The first half of it is all like noir and gothic, and it's just awesome. And with this one, this was also very themed. What would you compare this to in the real world?
I mean, movie-wise, Raid Redemption.
Yeah, this is the Raid. John Bernthal and the director, I'm going to pull up the director's name.
They watched Raid Redemption and Old Boy at some point in their life and went, yeah, I'm going to do this. And obviously, the scene...
Reynaldo Marcus Green.
The scene in Daredevil Netflix Season 1 that has started the homage to continue doing hallway scenes is because of Old Boy.
Certainly.
And so this one just felt more Raid Redemption because it took place in a place that he was trying to break out of.
Yep.
And
those confined spaces, the apartment building where you're just using the random objects that you find. Ugh.
And that's the thing. That was something that made me feel like superheroes are so back, right? And that's why I really liked it. I liked the idea that we were seeing these really intense kind of graphic scenes that were like really showing what Punisher is like and about and how he operates and moves, and someone who is not a hero having to fight through these constant waves of people trying to hunt for him while also trying his best to protect some of the civilians around him. What I didn't like is how they, starting off the premise, really made New York feel like the area he was in was full of crime and poverty for just the people he was around. And it felt like
Yeah.
a white version of New York City in a way that, like, I imagine some parents, when they hear their kids come to New York, and they're like, "Oh my God, don't go in these areas or don't do that."
I
And
heard
it's like,
it was how Tucker Carlson imagines New York City.
and like that kind of
And it really
in
is.
the beginning, seeing that as a start, I was kind of annoyed, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this because it's
Yeah.
like this is so much. You're kind of overdoing that aspect. They lean in after a while and kind of move away, but some pieces just kind of have to stay there, and
Yeah.
I don't appreciate how that felt. Because it's like, come on, like, where are we going with this? If they were trying to make this an idea of Mayor Fisk has been arrested or whatever, and now the
They
task
could
force
have
is gone.
easily done that.
That
But they
is-
had to see, here's the thing. They had to do a reason for why it would be okay for him to kill all these people.
Well, but there's a way to do that still. Like, so what I mean by that is like, okay, so task force is done. The police force that was also becoming a version of the mob himself
Yeah.
was gone. So then the real mob decided we're gonna go back to being crazy. So then this was the Punishers like, oh shoot, they're back. I'm gonna take care of them during this chaos. And so what could have been the version of the city going crazy was we just saw a task force and a gang boss or gang mob go down. What do we do? Right? There's chaos there. So you have a whole bunch of different gangs who are trying to step up. You have people who are just like, well, whatever. The city doesn't care about me. Why do I care about it? Which makes more sense than just like, yeah, we're just gonna throw these gangs and make them
this
go
gang
crazy.
went down.
And so this one area in New York's gonna be disgusting.
Yeah.
And we're gonna really lean into that word.
Yeah. And I just like you said, it's just really weird, and it does feel like a conservative view of the parts of New York City that like they just don't appreciate, and it really just feels really scummy. And I don't like that. I don't know. I think you could like you said, I think you can tell this story without having to make it seem like you think New York is some dirty, terrible place where the people would raid an apartment building to kill this guy for money. You know,
And even then, they're not even just saying New York; they're saying that certain part of New York, right?
Certain part
they're
of New York.
specific on that area.
Yeah.
Like even when she's like basically telling him like, "You live here," like disgusting.
Yeah.
Again, continuing with that, it's like, are you serious? Like,
yeah.
Are you chill right now?
I don't know. I thought have you seen Beau is Afraid?
No, actually.
So Beau is Afraid, at least in the first part, he has like agoraphobia where like he walks outside and it's a hyper realized imagination of what the outside world looks like. Like there's robbing and killing on the street and someone's just hanging out with like a gun, and like it's all happening in Beau's mind where he's like thinking this is what the real world looks like around him. It would be interesting if the Punisher was walking around New York City and that's kind of what he was imagining, where he was just seeing violence and this and that, when in the real world, like in reality, it wasn't actually like that.
It wasn't as bad.
But they clearly, I think this, at first people were like, maybe this took place all inside of his head. And that was the optimist in me. I think this was all real.
Sure, and a lot of this one shot was full of things that are happening inside of my head that aren't really there, right? I mean, like Karen, for example, being there. I wish that was it. They just kind of enforced that it's not because of like the end scene with him.
Yeah.
Like you cleosing up the chapter of how it first opened up.
Oh, I hate that guy you and I watched this together, and when that guy threw the dog, we had our jaws on the floor for maybe the next 5 minutes. Like I wasn't even paying attention to what was happening after that because I was like, how dare they just do that?
Like, are you serious? Yeah, like we just really see this, and like again, even then for him to be like, you know, that's my hat, whatever, and he's like, that's not the only thing he took from me. So then Punisher's like, okay, I'm gonna fucking murder this dude, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but not really. Like those are like the parts for me, the beginning and the end, that I'm just like, that could have been cleaned up. Where everything else I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I also just think it was like, I just also really think it was fun to see a character again be connected to their story without having to make examples of other superheroes, right? We didn't need to talk about Daredevil. Didn't need to talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, I love the concept of
a
the
lot
one
of people
shot.
were saying this was going to be a connective factor to leading into Spider-Man's movie. I even think some of the Disney execs
Yeah.
were saying that. Nothing.
I think they were
related
just
to
trying
it.
to generate
They were
buzz
just trying
about
to generate
this.
buzz, and I'm glad it didn't have that connection. I didn't want that. I'm glad this story was focused on Frank going through these decision making some callbacks to his original season as well.
Yeah. I think it would be cool if, like, I think maybe, because we know he's in Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think maybe he shows up and you see him driving that truck in the trailer and he's like, I'm on my way to the Nucci family mansion or the warehouse, or I found this thing of the new, like, maybe that's what he's doing, like, who knows? Because it's hard to say when this takes place. This could take place before Daredevil Born Again Season 1, after, in between the two seasons, after the season that we just got. Like, it really could take place whenever.
I think they did confirm to say that is after.
Really?
That
Okay.
is after Born Again Season 2.
So I'm surprised that we didn't see him then.
We just don't know where this story happened, the Frank Castle story.
Yeah.
It feels like it happened after Born Again, but who's to say it didn't happen before Born Again Season 1?
Yeah.
Right? Because when you see him in Season 1, he's pretty much cleaned up.
Yeah.
And it looks like how he looks now. So
Yeah.
maybe this was before that. However, the Spider-Man is after Born Again Season 2.
Yeah.
And
well, no, not Spider-Man. I was talking about Punisher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I agree. Then we're talking about the same thing. Before I get into, like, a little bit of my gripes, I do want to just talk about how much you and I had so much fun watching this, at least, especially the middle section.
Sure.
Because once the action starts, once he gets lit on fire and runs through that door, it is crazy action for 20 minutes. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I was surprised we were getting all of that.
I did not expect that.
That we were like, I think we have to rewatch that one time and do a kill count.
Yeah.
And
when he goes into that other apartment, he kills, what did we count? We count 15 to 16 people?
I think we ended up with 17.
Oh my god. Yeah, and it all happened so fast, and yeah.
It's all again, very clean fight sequences, and obviously it's not a one shot, like, filmed in that way, but, like, that's an example of very quick, chaotic characters fighting this guy.
Feels a lot like the Raid, less so much like Raid Redemption, where not a lot of people had guns. They did have guns in the Raid, but, like, a lot of those long, overdone fights, people start to lose energy because you can only
the
fight,
stamina
like,
of it, yeah.
Yes. Where in this one, like, people will they'll like swing at him, he'll block it, he'll hit them back, and then he's shooting them.
Like, I'm saying, he's killing them.
Yes.
Where in Raid Redemption, it's like a long battle of, like, I'm trying to get these kill blows, but I have very limited resources.
Yes.
Like, at one point, Punisher falls on the ground, grabs an SMG, just nails one person.
It's such a cool shot. It's really done well. And then there's the one part when he finally makes it out, and then there's, like, that courtyard, and someone's getting attacked on the other side of the building, and he takes a quick second to kind of line up his shot, and then takes a long shot and just gets the guy in the head, and, like, then just continues his way. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's really amazing directed action, and then choreography of the fighting is also phenomenal. And then lastly, of course, John Bernthal is killing it in that role.
And we got another no, wait moment.
He's like, no. Yeah.
And like I said, when it works, it works. There were some things that kind of were like to call out, to be like, yeah, this didn't work for me.
Like I said, so the thing that you and I left this episode when we finished it, and we went, God damn, that's awesome. We did both point out it's a little weird to paint New York City in this light. It feels a little bit like prejudice, and it just both skeeved us out in that way.
Yeah.
Sitting on it a couple days later, I then saw an interview that John Bernthal read. So I'm just going to read a little passage of what he said in this interview that puts a worse taste in my mouth.
You talking about how bro doesn't like taking naps?
How dare this dude say he doesn't like naps? What is so wrong with naps, bro? I take 2 naps a day.
But I'm scared every time I don't normally take naps, and unironically also used to be a no nap person, just because I hated going through my day.
You and I have talked. And
If I
thought
fall
about
asleep for
this.
5 minutes, my fear is that I sleep for more than I should,
Yeah,
and I just kind of 5 minute nap turns into 2 hours, and I've ruined my whole schedule.
sure.
However, now when I take naps, it's like seeing the Hat Man, but instead I'm scared I'm gonna wake up from a nap and John Bernthal's gonna be right there and just punch
And
me.
he's
straight in
like,
the
"Why are you
face.
taking a nap?"
Why are you napping right now, Michael? Stop that!
But no, I actually wasn't talking about that interview, the more controversial interview. I was talking about this one that he did recently, talking about Punisher One Last Kill. And in it, he says, this is coming from John Bernthal on this exact project. Frank belongs to the fans, belongs to the members of the military, members of law enforcement, people who Frank just exists in their heart. I do look at it as a responsibility, and I'm honestly astounded that they let us do what we did. John Bernthal, I think you're a great actor. I think you play the Punisher phenomenally. The Punisher belongs to all of those people, except and especially not the law enforcement. The Punisher is not for the law enforcement. That is an insane thing to say. That is so insane to say.
The whole point of Born Again and seeing the
people task force wear his logo,
and he's pissed off about it.
Yeah,
which he plays very well when he's playing the character, is because that's not the point at all.
Yeah,
that's the complete opposite of what it is, and that's something that I noticed within the episode that I didn't like in the beginning when we're seeing the chaos of New York, and the thing that they really focused on in the beginning of the camera shot was the police sirens. A car comes up, then it slowly reverses, and you see a police car on fire.
Yeah,
it's like, are you kidding me?
It's one of those things where after listening to that, I don't know. I don't know John Bernthal. I don't know where he stands on things. I feel like him and this director were in New York City and they saw like a homeless person and they were like, "Oh, I wish someone would deal with that," or "I wish the Punisher would do like, oh, that would be a great idea if someone paid like a bunch of like people who are dealing with these yeah, like let's sick the poor and mentally ill people on the Punisher and have him just murder all these people." Like, I get in universe that like they are now going into people's homes and literally like attacking them. Like they had people going to their other family and like attacking them, so the Punisher fights them and kills them. But it's so insane, and I'm gonna be honest. Paired with that interview, it's very, very weird, and
that's
I do not like that at all.
What gives the fear of it, right? Like that interview and what we saw, what we were getting the ick from. If that's the intention of it, because he wrote part of this, it's like, why? Please elaborate on that as a person, because now you're connecting your biasm into it, and I have to understand why you're doing this. Because I like you as an actor, and I like some of the writing that you're doing. As well, not just this, but in this Bear project that he did. However, this character is really important to represent something that you're saying that was the opposite of what it should be. So talk more on that before you continue making more projects.
Yes, definitely. Because, like you said, I really like him. And I do think outside of that, you and I had a great time watching this. But I fully understand if people don't want to watch this and don't want to support it because of those comments. And then also how it painted New York. I think I've listened to two other podcasters and two other YouTubers talk about it, and they both said that's a little strange how he painted New York. Like, it just really feels like the joke of this feels like what Tucker Carlson imagines New York City to look like, because it really is just like, what are we doing?
Especially when you compare it against,
what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What's going on?
When you compare it to Daredevil, it's like, well, they didn't go that intense into that, right?
No,
they didn't have to, because why? Like, that's an ignorant version of New York.
Yeah, it's very ignorant. You well said. Agreed.
And so we'll see. We'll see what comes next. We'll see what the next projects.
I think I'm comfortable saying that with the Punisher One Last Kill, I think it's back. I think superheroes are back.
I think superheroes are back, and if you have any other examples of superheroes being back, We said Wolverine. X-Men 97 season 2 is coming out, which just seeing some of the art alone
I'm
for
so
that.
excited for that.
So excited. I know Butcher didn't want us talking about DC. Do you mind if I say one thing, Butcher?
Oi, what you gotta say?
Batman 2 looks like it's picking up right now. They're starting to film. We got a lot of new people
Hell
cast.
yeah.
That's gonna be excited. We got Clayface coming out.
Yeah.
Not a superhero, but a superhero entity, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
Batman's gonna be involved in some way. That's gonna be awesome. So I just think we're building up into it. I think we're leading into the next steps of things.
I think you and I just continue this series where because I do think for the next couple of years, the superhero genre is in an interesting space because especially once we get to Avengers Doomsday, that's going to be the judgment of whether superheroes are back, and maybe the reign of Marvel starts to die down and DC becomes the big thing that everyone knows and goes to.
Sure, and I'm excited as well for what's to come. But that I think superheroes are like my most comfortable media, where I'm really excited about, and I feel like I can lean into it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also where I do hold it to a very higher standard. Like I think DC does have the opportunity to kind of swing over MCU where it's flopping.
I would love
currently.
it.
However, I will say where I do like some of the things James Gunn is doing, I think some of the other stuff he's doing is kind of annoying. Like just to give a little splash to him, Creature Commandos, when Rick Flag does not look like how Rick Flag looks like in...
Rick Flag looks like James Gunn playing
I'm
Rick
like, so
Flag.
what is that? Like, elaborate on that. If you're going to do something like that, then why?
Well, so you and I have talked about this a bit. James Gunn, he's slowly been starting to, like, make insert characters that are basically him. And then, like, Star-Lord becomes a version of him. Rick Flag is that. I do think he loves to create those characters that are like those lovable goofballs that just make out with hot women. And I do think that, like, I don't know. I think James Gunn does an amazing job, and he is an amazing writer-director. I think he does even better when producers reel him in just a little bit. I think when he has 100% creative control, it starts to go a little haywire.
I mean, an example of fun, Superman, right? I had a lot of fun watching Superman. I thought that was awesome. I'm excited to see what comes next.
Yeah.
Obviously, the questions we have to answer is what's going to come next to verse. We have a lot of DC things kind of piling together where the Batman 2 is apparently unrelated to anything James Gunn is doing. Reeves is going to have his separate universe, which means Colin Farrell's Penguin's going to stay there. And this Clayface, as we learned, is actually going to be the one in the James Gunn's world.
Yeah.
If they connect, personally, I'm really biased in the fact that I think Robert Pattinson works very well with our Superman, and I think it would be really cool. But if they keep separate, that's fine. We'll see. And then we have so many episodes to be able to make on that one we're coming out, because like we said, I think they're back, and I think it's confirmed now.
Yeah. So I'm very excited with any of those. Anything else? I think, 3 out of 4 being superheroes back for the most part. Maybe even 3.5 out of 4, you'd say.
We can have 3.5.
I think superheroes are back, and I'd love to see that trajectory go up because, like you said, the genre is just awesome, and it defined the 2010s big time, and I'd love to see it continue into the 20s,
So let us know in the comments what you were interested in. If there's any takes that we missed or any takes you want to call us out on, feel free to in the comments. If there's anything that's coming soon that we also didn't get to, let us know.
Yeah. Butcher, do you want to send us off? Oi, I don't really know how to do that. All right, well, what you got to do is just say like, comment, subscribe, and then this has been Coasting the Mediaverse, and then say your name, and then we'll say ours.
And he just flipped us off and walked away, didn't he?
He did. He actually just he did something really weird. I'm not even gonna say it on
that's our cue to go.
But with that, this has been Coasting the Mediaverse. I'm Brian.
And I'm Michael.
Catch you later, guys.